Thanks for downloading another segment from the Best of the Classic Metal Show. The Classic Metal Show is heard live on Saturdays from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Eastern, exclusively at www.theclassicmetalshow.com. And now here's another piece of Classic Metal Show history on the Best of the Classic Metal Show.
The Classic Metal Show.
Brand new Queensryche from the American Soldier release, Chris, and that's Middle of Hell. And you know who's a real trooper, Chris?
Who's that?
That would be Geoff Tate, since he chooses to march right through the middle of hell. That is the Classic Metal Show. So welcome back to the Classic Metal Show, Geoff.
Hey guys, nice to be here.
Well, we're always glad to have you here on the show. As you know, Geoff, we feel like you're a Classic Metal Show alumni, and we're always happy when Queensryche is doing something new, be it a new CD or DVD or doing some kind of a tour. And we like to think that we are the premier format to get the word out there on what's going on with the Reich. How's that?
Well, you guys are the premier outlet. You are.
I'm going to cut that into a clip, and then we'll just put that out there. Geoff Tate says the Classic Metal Show is the premier outlet for all that is Reich.
All that is metal.
That is right. Well, Geoff, we're again amazed at how quickly the turnaround is for Queensryche to get new material out to the public. I mean, the last few times you've been on the show, obviously you were deep in the middle of the Operation Mindcrime 2 release, and doing a lot of touring and performing Mindcrime 1 and 2, and it's just amazing the amount of road work you guys do and find time to do studio work. And now you're back with this new CD, American Soldier.
Well, we're the hardest working band in showbiz.
I believe that. I believe that.
You can quote me on that.
Well, Geoff, obviously, man, with American Soldier, you've taken on a topic that, certainly not the most popular topic that you guys have ever covered, but somehow I think that's kind of the way you like it. Is that pretty much how it is in the Queensryche camp?
Well, I think you just go with, what you're interested in. I think that's just being true and honest to your art. And this is a subject that I hadn't really expected to write from or write about. But once I think we started looking into it, it's very interesting and actually a pretty humbling experience to interview all these different soldiers and hear their stories and their perspectives, and try to write music to support those stories was really an honor.
Sure. Now, Geoff, what was it that actually got you interested in this topic? Was it somebody that came up to you at a show, or was it just watching the news, or what exactly was it that said, you know what, I think I can craft an hour's worth of a story about this?
Well, it actually started with a conversation I had with my dad, who's a war veteran, Korea and Vietnam, and I grew up in a military family, and never really talked to my dad about it over the years. Although I tried, he just really wasn't into talking about it much. And I was visiting him in 2006. We were on tour, I think, with the Mindcrime show. And I had a day off, and he lives in Oklahoma. And we were sitting on the back porch of his house drinking some iced tea, and he just started out of the blue talking about Korea and his experiences there. And I stopped him. I said, Dad, wait a minute. And I grabbed my video camera out of my bag and recorded the conversation we had. And then listening to it back and watching the video really kind of piqued my interest as to his story and what other soldiers must have experienced, and it just got me started thinking about it. So kind of leaning in that direction, I started kind of conducting impromptu interviews with any soldier that I would meet or talk to, whether it be in the supermarket, a gas station, backstage at shows, and then they would give me numbers of people to call and talk to that they thought I'd be interested in talking to. And so over a couple-year period, I collected hundreds of hours of footage and began looking at it all and thinking of making a record out of it, and finding a lot of commonalities in the stories that they experienced. And that's what we focused on when we were writing songs, was those commonalities.
Sure. Now, I think the misconception about American Soldier is that this is that it's a left-leaning political record, and you've made it very clear that you are kind of on the left side of things when it comes to politics. But I don't think this album actually is politically oriented at all, is it? It's really just based on stories. I mean, it takes a certain slant of the stories. It doesn't exactly say that, hey, I was glad to be over in Iraq, theory, but it's not political at all, is it?
No, not at all. In fact, it's the first record that we've ever conceived that isn't about us, or isn't about our feelings about things. It's not about our observations. It's about the soldiers, and it's their words, it's their stories, and actually their voices that tell the stories on a lot of the songs. And we were kind of acting as, I guess, a biographer in a sense, collecting their stories and then supporting those stories with music.
Sure. Now, many of the songs on here, they obviously tell it. They don't necessarily tell a story of, being shot and that piece of. I mean, certainly some of them do, but the more telling songs for me anyway are the songs that deal with the emotions of the realization of war, like If I Were King is one, and Man Down especially another one where, it absolutely paints that picture of, geez, what happens when the guy next to you takes a bullet? What was that like when you were talking to people and they were telling you these stories? Were you even able to relate on any level with what they were telling you?
Well, that's what I realized early on in collecting these stories, and that anything that I would add to it would completely be speculation from a platform of complete ignorance, because I've never been in the military, I've never been a soldier, I've never been in a war, and so that's why I wanted to talk to people that had been there and done that and try to understand how they process that experience and how they deal with the things they deal with, and try to understand what it means to be a soldier. And that's what I really took away from this record, was a lot more understanding about their point of view, and walked away with it with a huge amount of respect and gratitude for soldiers and what it is they contribute to our society, which I think is an incredibly important thing that a lot of us take for granted.
Well, Geoff, with speaking to these soldiers and getting their perspective, did it change any of your personal points of view on military or war, or give you a different understanding, or give you a different viewpoint than what you thought already?
I really didn't have a viewpoint other than, I think war is a last resort effort and activity, and I think it's a last resort solution. And that hasn't changed. In fact, almost all the soldiers that I interviewed, that I asked that question to, none of them were pro-war, which I found to be very interesting. And actually, I respected them a lot more for the sacrifices that they do give, considering that. But not one of them ever said that they regretted the experience, which I found very respectful as well. They all learned from the experience that they did have, and walked away from it stronger and better people.
Well, Geoff, as you know, the U.S. has always, had a strong military presence around the world for various reasons. And, we've gotten involved in conflicts that a lot of, obviously people objected to. But it's one of those difficult questions to answer personally, and I just wanted maybe your viewpoint on it. That if we know of atrocities being committed by another country or another situation where people are being under the rule of tyranny, do you believe that we should just let them take care of their own, or do you think that intervention is necessary?
That's a really difficult question to answer, because it's really specific to the event, I think. But one of the things that's about the American military that is very respected worldwide is the fact that we've never been a military presence that has gone in and taken over a country and taken over the people and enslaved them and, basically raped the country of all its resources. That's not the way we operate. If we do go into a country, we go in there and we try to stabilize the government and put people in place that are going to continue in a democratic fashion and allow the people to have the power and to be responsible for their own livelihoods, And that position has always been very respected worldwide. Throughout history, there's constant examples of the opposite.
Well, obviously, Geoff, we're into the 7th year of this Iraqi conflict, and obviously people, have this feeling like it's going to be a never-ending thing. But do you believe that what we're doing in Iraq today is for a noble cause?
Well, I think it's a very complex cause, and one perhaps that none of us will ever really understand completely. I like the idea of us going in and helping to stabilize a very unstable region, and definitely to protect our interests, since we are so dependent upon their resources, and try to make it so that it is a country that we can do business with. I like that idea, and I think that's a very noble cause. And I also think it's very noble to help people that are being severely oppressed and killed, for political reasons. I think that's a very noble cause.
Sure. Well, Geoff, obviously American Soldier, it's gonna rattle some people, and it's gonna be well received by other people. And obviously, so far, the album's just out and all, but with it just coming out, it's been received very well by military.com. I know has been very supportive of you, and that's one of the bigger military organizations out there. I'm curious if you've had any interaction or anything, or any kind of a reaction rather, from any official military people, be it I don't know, higher ups within the Army or Marines or whatever, or even like the USO or anything like that might take this negatively because it doesn't paint a positive picture of military and war service.
Well, I'll say this: we haven't had any negative reactions from the military. It's all been very positive, and I believe that's because it's a reality record. It's songs about what's really there. It doesn't paint a rosy Hollywood picture, but it doesn't condemn it either. And the fact that it's the soldiers' stories, it's their words, it's their perspectives, and who else can comment on that other than them? None of us can who haven't served or haven't been there.
Sure. Well, outside of the album itself, Geoff, obviously within the Queensryche camp, there has been a change within the last couple of months with Mike Stone leaving, and I guess what happened there. And I understand you brought your brother-in-law in to replace him. Is that right?
Yeah, Mike was a hired guitar player that played with us for several years, and really contributed a lot to our live work, and actually contributed musically on our last record as well. But he felt that it was time for him to move on and do other musical endeavors, and he started another project called SpeedX that he's very into, and wanted to spend more time developing that. And we were sad to see him leave, but we were also very happy that he's pursuing something that he feels strongly about, which I think is very important. I think life's too short to do something you don't want to do, and you should pursue things that you find pleasing and worthwhile. So we'll miss him, and hopefully we'll work together with him in the future on some other project. But in the meantime, we're going to keep doing what it is we do, and we're touring starting next week to start our tour. And Parker Lundgren is his replacement, and he is actually my son-in-law.
Okay.
Well, Geoff, one of the things that surprised me as far as the production of this record is that you guys worked with Kelly Gray again. How did that come about? I kind of got the impression that your work with Kelly Gray in the past wasn't as up to par, or maybe I don't know what your working relationship is with him. I know he's part of the band for a short time, and produced your Q2K release and whatnot. But how did you come about choosing Kelly to produce this new release?
Well, Kelly's been my good friend since we were about 17 years old. We've known each other that long, and played in bands before Queensryche, and he has worked on a number of projects actually with us in different capacities. And Kelly's a very talented producer, engineer, and also a songwriter. And we brought him in on this as a producer engineer specifically, and really like his production work. And he had a real feel for the subject matter and could really relate to it. And, whenever you do a project, you look to surround yourselves with people that are of like mind, and that are talented, that can help you, fulfill your vision of what it should be. And, we've had a long working relationship with Kelly and felt very comfortable with him, creating with us.
Well, I had read an interview with Michael Wilton, and he had, since the departure of Mike Stone, he had made mention that he did all the guitar work on there so it would capture the quote-unquote, the traditional Queensryche guitar sound. Is that is that something that you guys feel that have been missing on your last couple of releases, is that whatever that traditional Queensryche guitar sound is?
Well, if you talk to guitar players, that's a very important element to what it is they do that maybe the rest of us don't quite pick up on, And Michael felt very strongly about this record in the arrangement sense of it and recording of it as well. And since Stone left, Mike was the only guitar player around, and he really took the job very seriously and really devoted himself to playing all the guitar parts and inventing some new ones that we hadn't thought of, and really, really contributing heavily to the arrangement side of things.
Sure. Now, since you are going out on tour in support of this new release, American Soldier, I did read, in one of the press releases or maybe even a print interview with you, you guys are going to concentrate also heavily on the Empire release on this go-round?
Yeah, we're actually presenting 3 of our records live on this tour this year, Rage for Order, Empire, and American Soldier. And we're going to be playing the entirety of those records over 2 nights, which means we have 2 set lists, 1 and 2, and we're going to be alternating back and forth so that we can play all the songs from those records.
Well, as I asked you before when you were doing the Mind Crime 1 and 2 in its entirety, Geoff, how do you do it? I mean, seriously, that is a lot of vocal work.
Yeah, it is. We've been rehearsing for about 2 months now, getting ready for it, and working in Parker to the second guitar position. And, man, it's been a lot of work, and actually going back and listening to some of those old songs, and some of them we haven't performed, live ever, and some of them we haven't played live since that album came out, In the case of Rage for Order, that's 1986. Wow. So going back and kind of, refamiliarizing ourselves with those things has been quite an event.
Sure. Now, one last question, Geoff. I know you've toured with these guys several times, so I'm sure you probably have some kind of an opinion. What was your opinion of Metallica getting into the Rock Hall, and what do you think it does for not only Metallica, but for hard rock and heavy metal, as a genre?
Oh, I'm very happy that they got inducted to that. Metallica is a great band, and they've been very, inspirational to a lot of people, with what they've done, and very inventive, I think, with, what they have to work with. And, I'm very happy that they've done that, and, definitely happy for them.
Excellent, Geoff. So do you believe Queensryche will ever be inducted into the Hall of Fame? Not that true rock and roll fans really care about that kind of thing, but is that of any significance to you personally? Do you consider that an honor, or do you just consider that a postscript to the Queensryche career when it's all said and done?
Honestly, I hadn't really thought about it until you just mentioned it. I'm not, I don't even hang up my gold and platinum albums, anywhere. I think they're in a box in my attic. I'm not too interested in that kind of thing, but then again, I've never been inducted to the Hall of Fame, so maybe I would feel differently, when the time comes, or if it ever comes.
Sure. So but looking at the Hall of Fame, I don't know if you even pay much attention to that, but I can tell you that we've had lengthy discussions about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame here on the Classic Metal Show. And what is your thoughts on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Do you think that's a legitimate entity, or do you think that it's kind of a sham?
I don't really have an opinion about it. I've actually never thought about it.
All right, well, that's fair enough.
Spoken like somebody that may end up on the ballot someday. Very nice.
We don't want this to come back and bite you down the road.
It's always nice. I don't want to belittle it, but it's always nice when people appreciate what it is you do. Especially when you're creating music, which is honestly, it's a pretty personal experience. And for your music to affect people, in a positive way, and for people to appreciate it, that feels good. Definitely, at the end of the night when you play a show and you're out there saying goodbye and people are applauding. It feels good.
Sure,
to be appreciated, no matter what you do in life.
Well, not that I expect you to know the answer to this, Geoff, but being that you guys, as we said at the very beginning of this interview, you are one of the hardest working bands in show business, because I personally am amazed at how much road work you guys do and how much product you've turned out over, say, the last 6 years alone. But are you still enjoying what you do, and do you see any end in sight for Queensryche, or do you anticipate this going on, say, for another 10 or 15 years or even longer?
Well, when we first got together, we never envisioned being together this long, and not because we thought it had an end, but basically because we just didn't think in those terms. We're still kind of a bunch of guys that kind of live in the now, and we get together, and sometimes great things happen, and you really have a musical epiphany, so to speak. And other times you don't, and you go home and you come back the next day, and hopefully something will happen, and you never know. One of these days we just might not be able to make anything happen.
Sure.
So we enjoy it while we have it, and we enjoy the camaraderie of working together and touring together and sharing our music with fans. It's honestly all we know. We've been doing it since we got out of high school, and enjoying it the whole time.
Sure. All right, Geoff. Well, we always enjoy having you on the Classic Metal Show. As I've told you numerous times, you are the most frequent guest we've had over the 13-year run of the Classic Metal Show, and we hope this relationship continues. I'm looking forward to seeing you here in the Chicago area next month, and enjoying the new CD. So go pick up the new Queensryche American Soldier, and go visit them over there at their website, queensryche.com. And get all the latest tour dates, et cetera, and see them out there on tour. And I'm looking forward to hearing, maybe going to both nights and getting all 3 albums.
Well, I know I'm looking forward to Chicago is always a great town to play live music, and people really appreciate live music there. We're very excited about playing. And once again, thanks for having me on your show, and I'll definitely be coming back whenever you let me.
Sure, anytime, Geoff. I just wish you were playing a bigger venue than the House of Blues. But I know
we've kind of played everywhere in our career, from flatbed pickup trucks to, middle of the desert, to soccer stadiums, to clubs, you name it. And in fact, there's a great photo of us, I think it's on our website, of 3 of us standing on a corner in New York with the guitar cases open, playing for change.
Nice. Well, it's been a long way since those days. All right. Well, we're gonna get out of here, Geoff. Let you get about your business. I'm looking forward to seeing you live again next month, and I will definitely be there. And Geoff, we always let the artist pick a closing song off the new CD. So, what would you like us to play?
How about something like Man Down?
Okay. Any story behind that?
Yeah, in the process of interviewing soldiers, one of the main topics they talked about was how difficult it is to come back into the real world, after you've done a tour of duty and you've been in extreme circumstances, under extreme conditions. And it really takes a while to kind of, assimilate back into normal everyday life. And that's what this song was about.
Excellent. All right, the new Queensryche release is called American Soldier. Go pick it up today. Go check out Queensryche out on the road, as they'll be touring extensively. And here it is, brand new Queensryche, Man Down, exclusively here
on your Classic Metal Show.
Thanks for checking out the Best of the Classic Metal Show. You can tune into the Classic Metal Show live every Saturday night from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Eastern, exclusively at www.theclassicmetalshow.com.
The Classic Metal Show.